Got a lot of breaking news out of the Midwest tonight. The NBC News Decision Desk projects that Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has won the Democratic primary for Minnesota's 5th District, 56% to 43% for her challenger, Don Samuels. Donald Trump's conversation with X's owner, Elon Musk, last night is just one of the ways that the tech billionaire is using the social media company to not only push his political views, but to spread misinformation about the upcoming election. Beside using his own account, his personal X account, to cast doubt on election machines, on mail-in ballots, and on legal voting, in addition to surfacing racist, anti-Semitic, and misogynistic comments and accounts, Elon Musk is being called out for X's AI chatbot spreading false information about the election and President Biden's decision not to run. After President Biden announced he would not seek re-election, the X search assistant wrongly told social media users that Vice President Kamala Harris had missed the ballot deadline in 9 states and wasn't eligible to appear on the ballot in those states in place of Biden. Vice President Harris and Donald Trump are both working to reach young voters, independent voters, undecided voters, many of whom are not entirely engaged in politics, some who may be voting for the first time and need reliable, accurate information on when and how to vote. One could imagine could be easily tuned out if they say we're wrongly told that their candidate isn't going to be on the ballot. Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon is spearheading an effort calling on Elon Musk to fix X's AI chatbot and provide accurate election information for its users. In a letter to Musk, he writes, quote, as tens of millions of voters in the United States seek basic information about voting in this major election year, X has the responsibility to ensure all voters using your platform have access to guidance that reflects true and accurate information about their constitutional right to vote. We urge X to immediately adopt a policy of directing AI chatbot users to canivote.org when asked about elections in the U.S. Joining us now is the Minnesota Secretary of State, Steve Simon. Secretary Simon, good to see you. Thank you for being with us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Talk to me about this, because you're talking about the obligations that X should have as a platform. I think the last 7-8 years will have told us that these tech companies don't take those obligations all that seriously. But here, it's not just a technical problem. It's that Elon Musk himself spreads this disinformation. So how do you solve for that? Because it doesn't even seem like there's an intent to get things right.
Well, I would go even a step further. You know, you hear some of the social media companies, not just this one, but others saying, look, all we are is owners of a public square.
Yes.
And once in a while, someone's going to come in the public square and they're going to lie and they're going to deceive, and we can't really police that. That's what they say.
Yes.
But in this case, it's the owner of the public square and his own tool, the company's own tool, their chatbot. It's not someone in the square. It's the owners of the square. And that's the problem here. There are solutions. There are, as we said, and as you just summarized, there are ways that they can make this right. But the reason we, a bunch of secretaries, not just me, chose to speak up at this time is, look, who knows what the next error is going to be? This one was relatively low stakes. It's unlikely that someone will be disenfranchised if they believe wrongly what the rules are for ballot access for a candidate. But what if the next time they ask a question of this or any other AI chatbot, it's about whether they're eligible to vote or where their polling place is? And so we thought it was really important to set the record straight, but also to call on this company and all companies to do right by voters. This is about the voters. This is centering them in the discussion. They have to have the most accurate information over the next 84 days.
What does success look like to you on this front? Because I suspect you're clear on the fact that Elon Musk's not going to call you up or write to you tomorrow and say, you're totally right, Secretary Simon, I'm going to stop doing this.
Well, our suggestion, as you alluded to in that letter, was do as another chatbot did. ChatGPT agreed to shuttle or transfer users to the canivote.org website when asked about elections questions. And we think that's a modest and reasonable thing to suggest that the X chatbot do as well. You already have one major player doing it. They wouldn't be blazing a new trail. They wouldn't be the pioneer here. Someone else is already doing it. They should do something like that too, so that there's no confusion. We can set the record straight and that voters get the most accurate information.
We need a lot of people to turn out in this election because we should have 100% of voters turn out in every election, and that's what you and other secretaries of state do. We do have an issue with poll workers in large case because So many of them are threatened by it. This used to be the most benign, amazing thing to do as a public service, but now you and a lot of other secretaries are suggesting that you're going to be short of people to do that in a world where Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State in Michigan, was swatted. Poll workers are being threatened. We've seen this for years. How do you fix this?
I would point out it isn't just Secretary Benson this week that was swatted twice, as I understand it, but the Secretary of State of Vermont, Sarah Copeland Hanses, was also swatted or had an attempted swat. Yeah, it's a problem. We don't want threats. We don't want harassment. We don't want intimidation. One thing that we have done in Minnesota just this year is we've basically outlawed doxing of election judges. We call our poll workers election judges in the state. But whoever works the polls, and not just them, but the people who administer elections the other 364 days out of the year, they deserve some minimum sense of privacy. And they deserve these shields and these protections. This is but one that will make sure that they can just do their jobs. That's all we ask, that they be allowed to do their jobs.